The views expressed on this episode of the Came to Believe Recovery podcast do not necessarily reflect those of KHLT, Take 12 Recovery Radio, or our affiliates. The opinions on this episode should not be taken as medical, psychological, or professional advice and are those of the host, co-host, and guest. KHLT and Take 12 Recovery Radio are not affiliated with any particular 12-step fellowship. Well, greetings, my friends. I am the Monty Man from Take 12 Recovery Radio, and this is the Came to Believe Recovery Podcast. And now, here are your Came to Believe Recovery podcasting broadcasters to launch us forth on this week's show. Well, greetings, one and all. I am the Monty Man. I'm here with Tom Williams, the CEO of Came to Believe Recovery, and we have no Alicia this week. Where the heck is she, Tom?
Alicia is on a quarterly spiritual retreat she goes on. She's in Las Vegas.
Yeah, that's kind of a spiritual place.
Yeah, four times a year she goes and spends a weekend, and her mom lives out there, so she sees her mom too. I think her mom goes with her. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, that's where she is. So we can talk about her and
you could poke fun at her. Yeah.
Poke fun at her a little. Mrs. Martinez not here. But yeah, she's off. She'll be back next week.
Back next week.
Next week I'll be in California.
Will you be on the show next week?
I think so. Yeah. Well, it's at 9 o'clock, right? Right now, or 10 o'clock.
It's 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I should be able to. I'll double check with our appointment that we have is at Long Beach at like lunchtime, and it's not far, so I'm planning to.
Well, listeners, you have tuned into the Came to Believe Recovery podcast. This is a podcast that's produced by Take 12 Recovery Radio, and it's all about really the Came to Believe Recovery team. This is just one small piece of that. I, for one, am very, very grateful and thankful. We're going to talk about the differences between those two today. To be a part of really such a powerful movement of God within a group of people that has been in the process of getting back. You want to talk back to basics? Boy, I'll tell you what, this is grassroots stuff, getting back to the original program of Alcoholics Anonymous and applying and implementing that, not only in our personal lives, but sharing it with other people as well through presentations and retreats and so on. And so we're going to be talking about thankfulness and gratitude and being humble and all of that kind of thing. Here in a minute, but we do have a mailbag this week, Tom. So let's. Oh, by the way, did you recognize that music in the beginning?
Oh my gosh! So I can see the TV show, and it's the one where the foot is tapping.
Yes.
During the song, and it's the minute you say it, I'm gonna know it. It's what is it? I can't.
Okay, my
Three Sons. Oh,
yes.
I knew it. I was like, my something. Oh, black and white. Remember, it was black and white.
Fred McMurray, My Three Sons.
Fred McMurray. Yeah, black and white.
Yeah. Good. But it triggered your memory on the feet thing.
Yeah. It was graphic.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's really cool. All right, let's open up the mailbag here. Let's see what we got.
Let's open up the mailbag with a little Latin music. Bring it on in. Ooh. Let's open it up.
All right, it's time for the Came to Believe.
I like the other mailbag song better.
We have several.
What happened?
Got to mix it up, buddy.
All right.
All right, the Came to Believe mailbag. Our mailing address, our email address is Monty, MONTY, at cametobelieverecovery.org. We'll take your questions, your comments, your thumbs up, your thumbs down, whatever. Please feel free to drop us an email. All right, this comes from Simone. Hi, my name is Simone. I live in a small community and there is only one AA meeting. I'm struggling with finding a sponsor. No one here seems to know how to work the 12 steps, and I have heard you guys say that a sponsor needs to have worked all the steps before they should sponsor anyone. I'm reading the big book, and it's pretty clear to me. So do I really need a sponsor, or can I do this on my own? Your podcast is very helpful. Thank you for what you're doing, Simone. Well, what say you, Tom?
I say you can certainly do it on your own. If you get it, the book is talking about what you do. If you get it and go do it and get connected, why wouldn't you be able to do it on your own? I think you certainly could.
So I'm going to give you an example of some people that have done this with just themselves in the big book. They're called the Loner Group. They show up at the AA World Conventions every so many years. Is it every 3 years? Something like that, when they have a world convention. And they have a table. And these are people that are like at weather stations by themselves in Antarctica, that kind of thing, or they're up in Greenland somewhere. And these are people that are members of Alcoholics Anonymous, and it's them, their big book and their good book pretty much. And that's it. And they do have accessibility to alcohol in many instances, and they stay sober. And they're doing it, them and their big book.
The only thing you would need is, I guess, for a fifth step, right? I mean, you'd need to find somebody to, but it wouldn't, you could just find somebody and say, I just want to tell you all this stuff, right? I mean, I guess that you could still be doing it alone.
Yeah.
The book doesn't say, all right, prior to step one, go get a sponsor that's been through this. And I mean, it doesn't give any instruction to do that.
Right.
It's good practice. It just helps that somebody leads you through it that has experience. It is certainly a preferred method, but in some ways, Monty, I'd rather you read the book and do what the book says than listen to what some of these sponsors will tell you to do today. Right?
I totally agree. Yeah, so, I totally agree.
Simone, you're good. And listen, Simone, if you're listening and you can't find somebody to do your fifth step, reach out to us. Alicia will call you and do a fifth step with you. We'll help you.
Yeah.
So if you're feeling like you need some support or a community, reach out to us. We'll see if we can get you connected somewhere.
Simone, if you visit our website at cametobelieverecovery.org, you'll see where there's a Zoom meeting, and it'll have the code there to punch in and everything. And you can pick up a sponsor at the Came to Believe Recovery Zoom meeting. I know you can.
Yeah.
And so there you go. So it is helpful to have mentors in our lives and sponsors and spiritual advisors and that. But if there is no one to do that, it's better to have no one than have someone teach you wrong, right?
Right.
Kind of alluding to what you're saying, Tom. And so don't let that stop you. Our God's bigger than that, right? So, ask God to help guide you through this stuff, and he will. He just will. So there you go. All right. Our second email says, good morning. The holidays are just around the corner, and my wife and I have big families. I love this. I love this one. Both of our families like to celebrate a bit too much this time of year, and they think we are wet blankets because we won't spend time with them while they're drinking. Have you had any experience with spending time with family members that drink too much during the holidays? We don't want to be rude, but it's always very uncomfortable. My wife and I aren't concerned about relapse because we just don't drink. It's just so annoying. Peter. What do you think, Tom?
Well, I mean, I agree. I don't want to be around anybody that's had too much to drink, family or not.
It is annoying.
It's annoying. So, and you are around families. It's a tough time of year. My family doesn't drink too much. Maybe a glass or two more of wine. You can tell they've had a couple glasses of wine, but it's not really centered around drinking, at least not anywhere where I would. But I stay separate. I go early and leave early. I'm always one of the first ones to leave anyway.
Yeah.
A lot of it's just because, Uncle Tom goes home because he wants to go to the gym in the morning.
Right.
But I think that you should not sway to the pressure, right? I mean, you got to take care of yourself. Where to yourself, own self be true. It is a problem for some people, though, Monty, especially early recovery, to go
Yeah.
into families and they don't have themselves. They're just got a new connection with their higher power and they're trying to manage this thing, and their family can have a lot of pressure and influence.
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah. So I'm really fortunate in this, in that when my parents were alive, I'm an only child. So when my parents were alive and they moved up to here to Oregon, um, my dad he'd have like a brandy and seven when he got home from work, and never finish it kind of thing. And when they came up here, my mom never really drank. It was no big deal to her. Um, Dad was they were both supportive of my choices when it came to my recovery and that kind of thing. And Dad he just felt like, you know what? I don't need to drink, so I'm just not gonna anymore. I mean, he just realized that it just wasn't something that was important to him, and he wanted to be supportive of me. I didn't ask him to not do that, but he felt, I think I'll just support my son, and I just won't drink. So he never drank again, and for years, never picked up again. And Marcia's family, none of them that live out here partake in alcohol. None of them do. So it was a non-issue always. But I will say this, if it had been, yes, in early recovery, would it have been uncomfortable? Maybe, but at some point we can go, and the Big Book talks about this. We can go anywhere, provided we have a good enough reason to be there, right? And so if you're going to a wedding where people are drinking, especially if you know they're going to be maybe drinking a little too much, that kind of thing, you can go and pay your respects and leave. It's not rude to leave early. If they have a problem with that, that's their issue. But I can go today if somebody says, hey, I got this new band I'm a part of, and we're playing at the such and such club. You want to come see us play? I can go see them play. I don't have a problem with that. I'm sitting in a nightclub and I'm listening to my buddy and his band play. I have no issue with drinking or need to want to drink or anything like that. Now, if people get unruly, I'm probably going to not spend too much time there because I'm not attracted to that kind of behavior. But
that's the thing. I'm the same way. I mean, if I leave, it's not because I'm tempted to drink. It's because I just don't want to be around them.
Yeah.
It's annoying, people that are drinking. When I was a drinker, and if I wasn't drinking around drinking people, I didn't want to be there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
so what I would do, Peter, if this was me, I would go early enough before the drinking started getting too much.
Mm-hmm.
And enjoy your family, on that end of the drinking, and have a good time with them and visit with them. And once they start, pounding them down a little too much, if you feel uncomfortable, it's okay. You can excuse yourself. People leave family gatherings in the holidays for all sorts of reasons. They got to go to work. They got to go back to work. They got another family to visit. You don't have to lie about it or anything, but you can excuse yourself. It's okay.
It's okay.
But don't let somebody else's behavior keep you from connecting with your family,
right.
Like that. So there we go. All right. So let's close up the mailbag and get to the topic.
Let's close out the mailbag with a little Latin music to close it all up. Bing.
Yes, there we go. All right. Humbled and thankful, a 12-step journey. Yeah, Tom, launch us forth here. How are we going to address this?
So we're doing a month of great gratitude month, right?
Yes.
The next 4 weeks are going to be on gratitude, and I think it's gratitude month nationally or something.
Yeah.
Right? It's National Gratitude Month.
It is.
So we're going to do 4 episodes on that, and we're running a bit of a campaign, not a bit of a campaign on radical gratitude, which is kind of a cool term. I like it.
Can you explain the Giving Tuesday thing?
Well, I don't know much about it yet,
Okay.
but Giving Tuesday is just it's an event that's been created by, I think, you know, a consortium of nonprofits, and it's a day where, I mean, I think like Facebook, if you give, they give a percentage of it on Giving
Okay.
Tuesday, and there's things like that go on. So it's just like, you know, Black Friday, or, you know, it's like launching of the giving season. Historically, though, organizations don't make their most money on Giving Tuesday, but it does kind of launch the year end. If you're in a nonprofit or fundraising organization, you want to take advantage of people giving over the holidays and their generosity that tends to increase over the holidays.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, we will launch something on Giving Tuesday because everybody does. And so it's right around Thanksgiving.
I'm going to try in post production here, put up some graphics that Renee sent me.
Perfect.
That you can enjoy, folks, during this broadcast. Hopefully, if I do it right, they'll pop up on the screen at different intervals during this one and the ones to come for the week. They're just positive affirmations and stuff that reflects gratitude. So anyway, go ahead, Tom.
So, grateful and humble, I think, is the title for today. So, can they go together? Well, we can talk about it. Or can they be separate? Can you be grateful and not humble? Or can you be humble and not grateful? That's a bigger question. But gratitude certainly has a difference between being thankful. So Monty and I were talking about it before the show. Could you be thankful that somebody did something but not grateful for them? I guess you could be thankful and not grateful. But in many cases, we're thankful and we'll say to somebody, thanks for doing that, which is like a moment in time for some specific purpose, is what thanks are. And then we say, and we're really grateful to have you in my life. So I think thanks, especially in some of these definitions, which I'll read here shortly as we get into this, do very much talk that thanks and thankfulness is a specific, you know, event specific, person specific, moment specific, and that like thankfulness over time is really gratitude. It turns to gratitude if you're grateful over the time. It's a sense of just. I'm going to read what it says, but it's a sense of just being all the time aware of the gifts that we have and how with the freedom that we live in, and that we are have so many blessings and things in our lives, and that for us as addicts and alcoholics, not just that we're sober, but that our lives were restored, and that we now have a path to keep it that way. We have this level of gratitude, and so that's where we can start.
So I'm reflecting on one of the most common suggestions within the rooms of the 12-steppers is making a gratitude list. It's interesting. It's not making a thankful list, right? It's making a gratitude list. And sometimes, not in every case, but sometimes when I'm sponsoring a guy, particularly if he's having trouble with whining and complaining and just kicking and screaming and being a big baby, which we've all taken turns doing that, I'll challenge him to make a gratitude list. Depending on who it is and what's going on, it might be 10 things that I challenge him to make, or 30 things. And I'll tell him, listen, I want you. So let's take the 10 things. I want you to make a list of 10 things you're grateful for, and they can't be associated with each other. So you can't say I'm grateful for my dad, because he's been a great provider, and then later say I'm grateful for my mom and dad. I mean, it's too related. You can't say I'm grateful for God's love and then say I'm grateful for Jesus. I mean, they've got to be separate, right? And so often they'll ask me to give them an example. And so I give them an example of a guy that I worked with that told me, he says, I'm grateful for peanut butter. And I said, really? Share with me about that.
Right.
He said, I hate peanut butter. And I'm like, what? He goes, I hate it. I am so sick of peanut butter. I just hate it. But I'm so grateful for peanut butter because it sustained me for several years while I lived on the streets. It's all I had. And I will always be grateful for peanut butter. I'll never eat it again, but I'll always be grateful for it. Isn't that interesting?
It's very interesting. Yeah.
Isn't it?
Well, this is what people say. They're a grateful recovered alcoholic. And how are you grateful for being an alcoholic or a grateful alcoholic, they'll say, right? Well,
what are they really saying, though?
Yeah. Well, I hope that they're saying they're grateful that they found their way out of it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But really what I think they're saying is they're grateful because they never would have found this life if it wasn't for that life. So they're almost showing a gratitude towards the disaster that life was, that they are happy that it happened. Because if it hadn't happened, they never would have found the light that they find today. I mean, that's how I read it sometimes. I think people
Right.
say, no, I'm a grateful alcoholic. Boy, I would have never found this. And we know, Monty, that we have a way of life and a set of tools that we had to access because of our brokenness. But how many of us know normies, non-people with substance use disorders, who don't have to have the level of honesty and humility and gratitude that we have to stay alive? And so they never have the same level of also joy and peace in their life and success. So this is this grateful that I was that way. You know, a normal person can go by on mediocrity. We can't.
Right. Yeah. You bet. And there is something about the struggle that brings forth life, right? I mean, you ask any rancher that raises chickens, if you try to speed up the birth process, that little baby chick coming out of the egg, by your interfering with it, you'll kill it. It's got to struggle to get out of that shell. It's got to struggle. So I'm a firm believer in that. Many times struggle, pain, what we would consider a negative experience, can bring forth life. And I think within the body of Christ, often we're taught that God never wants you to struggle, that God never wants you to experience pain, that's not our Heavenly Father. And I don't think that's the case. If you look at Scripture, it talks about what produces perseverance, struggle.
Right.
You know, so those of us who we have an attitude of gratitude towards the battle that took place to bring us to where we are. People that haven't experienced those kinds of situations. And there are people that have experienced really painful situations, and they're not addicts or alcoholics. It may be financially, or maybe the loss of a loved one or something. But watch how they act in their lives. People that have gone through hell and back. There's a different level of peace and serenity about them than just the average Joe, don't you think?
I definitely agree. And there's a humility that goes along with this gratitude, especially in our case, because we realize, but for the grace of God go I.
Right.
And that we know that we didn't do anything to get what we got. I mean, we had to surrender and do some things, but it wasn't by our good works. And there's a level of saying, what happened to me was something otherworldly, and I'm not taking this for granted, and I'm grateful for it. And it makes me less, this is funny, Alicia would be laughing, judgmental or beholding of someone else. I got a bigger grace bucket than I ever did, Monty, because we're just all people making mistakes. And if I was ever held accountable for every single thing I did, it wouldn't be, and the stuff that I do. So I have a big grace meter to give people a second, third, fourth, fifth chance. Nobody's perfect. And I think that's part of this, being grateful. Yeah. Having a spirit of gratitude and humility allows us to sit back and say, boy, they had something was tough. And they, who am I to say, what I would have done if I was in that situation, kind of thing.
Right. One of the talking points that Alicia said was gratitude born from powerlessness. Am I grateful that I was powerless over alcohol and that my life had become unmanageable?
Well, I mean, I think, I don't know that I think great gratitude grew out of it, the powerlessness.
Oh, that's a good point. It grew out of it. Okay.
Yeah. That, as we get through it, as you're coming through step 7, which really works, and you get through the other side, you start to have that spiritual experience and the awakening with the experience is that come with it. And that God consciousness, you begin to realize, holy Moses, that, I just been given something that I couldn't get any other way I tried, moving, leaving, doing, all the things we try.
Yeah.
So I think it grows out of it. I would agree. Totally.
So let me ask you this. So one of the other things that she sent me was the gift of grace, steps 5 through 7. When the first time that you did the confession step 5, right? what was your experience? Were you shocked that somebody didn't go, "Oh my gosh, I wouldn't thought that of you"? Were you shocked at that, or was it a pleasant experience, or did they scratch their head and go, "I don't get you," or did they get you?
They got me for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a freeing experience for me. And I was at a point where what I was doing wasn't working. And you're telling me this is what I have to do. I mean, I had this level of already humility.
Yeah.
It had come from doing steps 1, 2, and 3. I admitted I was an alcoholic. I was powerless. I couldn't stop. I got a new power. I went through that list of 4-step inventory, had identified how, and was ready to have that
Right.
addressed. I had tried everything I could. So it was a good experience for me. How about you?
Yes.
I mean, were you surprised? I mean, I don't know what you told him.
Well, so I was having a hard time getting it out. There was a specific thing that I needed to lay out on the table because it had been haunting me for years. And my sponsor, Doug, he said, "Okay, hold on." He said, "Would you be comfortable in me sharing something that was hard for me to share when I did my 5th step, if I could share that with you?" And I said, "Okay." And what he shared with me was I was like, "Hey, stop, bro. Okay, I can tell you what I did. I can't because what you're sharing with me, dude, that's crazy." And I wasn't like, "Oh, that's horrible." I was just like, it was so crazy. I never dreamed, anybody would do these things that he was telling me. And it freed me to be able to open up myself to him. And so it was one of those Me Too moments where he said, "Yeah, I'm you, you and I are not that different."
It's really important for us. We know as doing 5th steps now, sometimes we have to tell one
Yes.
of our stories to make
Sometimes
them
we do.
understand and say, "Hey, I did this and this," and telling them, and that grease is real. And that is a legitimate part of a 5th step from the hearer's standpoint.
So the first 5th step that I heard at a Came to Believe retreat was in Pasadena. Pasadena? No. Yes.
It
Was
would
that
have
our
been
first?
Pasadena.
Was that our
Yeah.
first one? Yeah, at
Yeah.
Salvation Army. And it was upstairs in the chapel because I was upstairs in one of the little sitting rooms off the chapel, and this gentleman, he just started tearing up, and he said, I've never ever thought I would tell anybody this." And it was when we reached that point where we say, "Okay, is there any deep dark secrets you thought you were going to take with you to the grave? You don't have to confess that to me, but you may want to think about doing that at some point with somebody," and he was ready. And what he told me was a behavior that I engaged in. And I was able to look at him, and I got a big grin on my face, and we're knee to knee, and I tapped him on the knee, and I go, "Dude, I so get that. I so get that." And he started beaming, and he goes, "Oh my gosh." He goes, "I never thought I could tell somebody that." And he was so free. And he was one of the guys at the end during the Came to Believe experience that they share at the end of the retreat that came up and shared, I get goosebumps just talking about it. To watch somebody get free from the burden of something like that is, listeners, listen, if you're in recovery, if you're in a 12-step program or a recovery, you don't want to miss that experience. It's amazing. And you will be forever grateful that you experienced it. You will.
Grateful.
Yeah.
Gratitude.
It is so cool.
So, and I've had those too. And, then I'm like, right, I have a spirit of gratitude in my heart that I now am in a place that I can be open to someone else and let them experience the freedom without judgment. And that's a great thing. And have them see that because, I'm sure you were like, "Dude, I did that too. And I had to say it and I'm okay now." But I had to rely on the same power to heal me that we're telling you is going to heal you. And now I'm grateful because otherwise, as you can see, you're all tongue-tied. You're having a hard time telling me because on your own power, you can't heal it. And so it's very powerful. I think, we come away from those 5th steps going, "Whoa, am I?" Often I've heard people say, "I'm grateful. Number one, I'm grateful I'm not there anymore."
Yeah.
And boy, am I grateful for what I have today. And that spirit of gratitude, that countenance of gratitude, that state of being of grateful, is something that you see more very across the board with, especially in our group.
Yeah. And I think you, let's talk about humility for a minute, not humiliation, but right sizedness, right? So being truly humble does not mean I'm down here.
Right.
It also doesn't mean I'm up here. It means I'm right sized, right? And I have a perspective of who I am and who I'm not. And I think to hear somebody's fifth step and actually be effective as a hearer of it, you had better check your humility meter. Because if you go into it in a prideful way at all, or you forget from whence you came, they'll sense that. They will sense that. Addicts and alcoholics, especially new in recovery, they're not dumb. They did dumb things, but they're not dumb.
The other thing is they won't tell you if you come in from a spiritual high ground or that place where, all right, you're lucky you gotten me. If it wasn't me, that kind of thing, And I read something about humility in my study, kind of research before this.
Yeah.
About, when things go right in the world or around you or in your business, that your propensity to see others and how they were a part of the success and that it isn't just you is a big part of it, is to not take the credit for everything and to be able to see that it was not all you that did it and that there were others. I thought, that is true. Even if you kind of spearheaded it, we all know we can't do anything alone, or at least we start to learn it more and more, right? Our activities and our successes are products of relationships and things, and other people are always involved at some level. So sense of humility is, but what do you think humility automatically comes with gratitude? Can you have a state of gratitude like we're talking about, this state of just thankfulness and not be humble?
I don't know. I almost venture to say that here's where thankfulness and gratitude may differ a bit. I think I could be thankful for something. I could be could be an active narcissist and be thankful that you made me a birthday cake. Very surface, right?
Right.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. I love chocolate cake. And by the way, you don't get any of it because it's mine.
Right.
So I'm being narcissistic and selfish, but I am thankful for the chocolate cake. Is that an attitude of gratitude? No.
Is that being humble or saying, no. Why isn't the cake bigger? You should be making me a cake.
Right.
I darn right. Where's the presents?
Yeah.
And why isn't there a pie too? Right.
Right. And a person may not say that, but boy, their body language can show it.
It can show it.
Right. And people in recovery, they will spot a phony a mile away.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So humility and pride go together, right? That prideful attitude is a sign that you are not humble. You have no level of humility.
No,
so that's a tough place.
You can be grateful and not be humble. I think it goes together.
I'm not just tend to agree. I'm going to completely agree. I know that gratefulness feeds humility.
Yeah,
or humility feeds. If I'm looking at others, if I'm not taking credit overtly, if I'm right sized, I'm also not judgmental. I wouldn't be perfect. A lot of things come along with being that way.
Yeah.
That would feed them into being very closely linked. And thankfulness, because if you have an attitude of gratitude, you would tend to thank people for things. Actually, Monty, because I have an attitude of gratitude, I have that heart. My thanks are deeper than this surface. Thank you for that. It's thank you. I really appreciate that you did that for me. It makes a difference when you do that. I really do appreciate it. I'm not taking you for advantage. Like, there's more that I will say instead of just thank you. Go to the grocery store. Thank you. Thank you. And I really appreciate what you do. You made my day really nice. I'm so glad. I hope you have a great day. Because of my gratitude, I will go there quicker than just what they call it, salutation, right?
Right.
How about you?
So my mind just wandered to something when you were talking about that. There's a game show on TV right now called The Floor.
Uh-huh.
And there's all these people on the floor, and they have to answer these trivia questions, basically, or they lose their spot on the floor, right? So when they lose their spot on the floor, they're up by the guy who's hosting it, and when it's time for them, they've lost the competition for that part of the game show, and they have to go away. You're done with the game. He says to them, he goes, "Thank you, I appreciate you." And I'm watching that. I'm going, well, how? He's the game show host. What do you mean you appreciate them? How do you appreciate them? Why? Because they're a contestant? You appreciate them? It's so
that's just words.
It's
that
meaningless. Absolutely meaningless.
But when I go to the grocery store and say thank you and I really appreciate you being here, it is a thing because I appreciate that you're behind this counter every day and I know you're going to be here when I come so I can buy what I need to buy and you're friendly to me and you allow me to buy this. That's different, don't you think?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And so when you ask the question, what about me? So yes, there's a store called Grocery Outlet Bargain Market. I always have to say the whole thing. I don't know why, but it's a discount store. And it's where I get my frozen fruit, right? And you go in the store and there's this huge pile of boxes that they let people go through to use if they have a lot of groceries to put in the box and, instead of using a bag or something. And there's a lady in there. If I forget to get my box and I got my basket full of this frozen fruit, she will automatically step away from the register and go get a box for me because she knows I have trouble walking very far. She'll go get it and bring it back every time if I forget to get it when I first walk in. And I'm always so appreciative of that. Oh, thank you so much. I really mean that. I really, truly mean that. Thank you. I appreciate that so much. Why do I appreciate it? Because it's harder for me to do that. You see my need and you fill the need for me. You do that. You don't have to do that. She doesn't have to do that. She could be a good register operator, be nice and be pleasant, and she doesn't have to do that. You know what I mean? But she goes out of her way to do that. When somebody holds the door open for me, I'll go to the post office and there'll be some guy who's obviously maybe in his 30s or early 40s, right? And he doesn't look like a guy that would necessarily hold the door open for you, but he does. He sees me with my cane. He opens the door for me. When I say thank you, am I grateful he's there? Maybe not on a deep, deep level, but I am very thankful. I look at it, hey, thanks, man.
Right.
I mean, it's so pleasant.
It matters.
It's a refreshing thing that happens. And there are people in this world that you will open the door for them and they'll walk through and not say a word to you.
Right. Not a word.
Yet you will still open the door for them because your character has a heart of gratitude when it comes to helping other people, whether they respond or not. Right?
Yeah. I did one the other day. My brother-in-law often will drive me to the train from the house where my car is, and he's very good about it if he's free. And he drives, it saves Uber money and stuff, or came to believe, or for me, depending on why I'm going to the train station. And I recognize that's more than just thanks for the ride, man. The other day I said to him, listen, I just want you to know I really appreciate that you take me, and I recognize that you take time to bring me, and I don't take it for granted.
Yeah.
I know that it takes your time, and I really appreciate it, and I want to really thank you from the bottom of my heart. I don't take it lightly that you take the time, and I do understand. He was so touched by that. By that, he said, wow, thank you. It felt like I just recognized that there was an effort made beyond just driving me there. There's more to it than that. And then it mattered to me. And I don't know why I got prompted to do it. And I wasn't looking for anything. I wanted to give him some, I wanted to express to him my, I guess, gratitude, true gratitude. And that I understood the sacrifice that it took. But see, Monty, I had to say it, not just, it's different if I'd have said, thank you. I'm really grateful for you. And walked out. It wouldn't have been the same. That would have been better. But to go into detail with it, to say it, it matters, I think.
So I was at a small cultural grocery store with you.
You were with me.
I was with you.
Okay.
and we were in kind of a sketchy part of town, and we went to go get some fruit and stuff like that. Do you remember this?
I think I do. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah.
That was just in
Stockton,
Stockton, I think.
was
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Stockton? Yeah,
Yep, yep.
yeah. And so, I mean, it's that time of night where some of the danger zones are pretty active in those parts of town, and maybe not. You don't feel real safe, if you're a lady and you're by yourself, that kind of thing. There's bars on the windows of the grocery store, there's plexiglass protecting the cash register operator. And I mean, it's just one of those places that it may not be your first choice to go shopping, but we needed some stuff. And so we just went, right? And I remember so plainly, the gal behind the register, she was very nice. You asked her, you said, do you like working here? You engaged her, and she just started beaming. She was like, yeah, I do. You know what I mean? And I watched that, and it had such an impact on me that now whenever I'm in the store, I'm engaging with the person because of that thing that you did that I saw. I thought, wow, because we don't know how that person's day is going. Maybe it was, the bottom of the well. And that was the one thing that put a smile on her face. And how hard was that to do? Not hard at all.
And it was very disarming, if I remember, that she has sketchy characters coming up to her all the time. And
all the time.
Clearly we were, you watched that I remember doing that air of peace in her heart, that we weren't going to be a problem.
Right. Because we didn't fit with the culture that she's used to.
Not even close.
No.
Yeah,
No.
we were not in our world. But we go as American citizens, and we go wherever we want. I don't believe that I don't get to go, wherever I can get to go. And I will not be a victim.
Well, and I will tell you something.
At all.
Fresno and Stockton both. There are people that would never get their gas in either town because they're afraid, right? There's a lot of gang presence in Fresno and Stockton, California. But you know what I found on both of those trips? There were people that some people would look at and say, this is how I critique this guy. And I probably wouldn't want to pass him on the same side of the street. And yet some of those very people held the door for me, said good morning to me, and they weren't from my culture. They weren't white Anglo-Saxon, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, wow, they were really nice. I had a really positive experience in both those towns from everybody that I ran into. And I thought, what's the big deal? What are you talking about? All these people are scary. They weren't scary at all.
I love that. And I think it's living in the go, Monty. It's the life we live in a biggest picture, I think.
Yeah.
For sure. And it's it's humility, it's gratitude, it's a non-judgmental, it's we see the good in everybody. I do that. I have done that too, where that judging the first looks and then going up and saying, and they are the ones that will do more for you than the ones you would, otherwise pick as the right person type of thing, right?
Yep.
This, guys, if you're listening to us, especially if you're in a Salvation Army ARC and you're beginning a life of recovery, and you hear us talk about living in the go, and if you're in an ARC or in recovery assurance and you're tackling some subjects like this about how to interact and how to change the way I am and how to create new habits and new attitudes, I hope some of this catches you. And Monty and I, as his story said, we actually do this stuff. We go out and we do this, and it matters to us. And it matters to other people, and it has us living recovered. It's what recovered is all about. It's not just a word, guys, and everyone listening. It's a state of being that is encompassed in gratitude and humility and non-judgmental and a right-sizedness, as Monty says, which is so important today. But I hope it was helpful today, us talking about all this stuff, because it's a little. It can be confusing, and it's more than a word. I hope that's where it came, right, Monty? That, I'm grateful for you, or I'm humbled by this, but there's a state of being behind that word that then can be translated into action that comes from it. That is
Yeah.
really, really important. And I hope you guys, and hope we did. But it makes me want to go spread sunshine right now, Monty.
Yeah.
I got to go ask somebody if they like working where they work, which is a common thing. I do it all the time because it's a good one. Hey, you like working here? You get great responses from people.
Have you
You
ever
know?
ever had anybody lean over and go, "No, this place sucks"?
Oh, half the time. But I still brighten their day. I
It
go,
does.
tough. Well, you got to do something. You know, you always have a choice. You going, and then I'll go in with stuff like, are you going to school? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Well, get to school. Yeah, I don't know if this job wasn't meant to be a career there, dude.
Right.
This was meant to be a high school job for you to make your way through. Yeah, I would,
Yeah.
if you're wishing this is going to be your, retirement. Anyway, yes.
Right.
Anyway, that was kind of a mic drop there, Monty, but I thought it was important.
It was. All right. So the last point that Alicia sent was living in service and gratitude in steps 10 through 12. And so our gratitude does show when we serve, and that's all. When you live in, and listeners, I'm going to challenge you that may not know this. So I'm not going to read it to you. I'm going to challenge you to if you don't know, just type in the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous or the 12 steps in Google and read 10, 11, and 12. If you live in that philosophy of 10, 11, and 12, which is basically, I need to check myself, right? I need to have a relationship with my Creator so I can check myself properly. And then I need to be involved in other people's lives in a positive way. I mean, that's kind of capsulizing the whole thing.
That's good.
If you live like that, living in the go, what you will see, you will not see the negative side of people so often first. You'll see the positive way more. And it is something, when you start seeing things through a different lens, your whole life changes. It just does. And that is definitely to be grateful for. So I don't have a closing song this week. I do have a closing thought that's got I think the song is maybe called Grateful or something like that. But anyway, it's just an instrumental piece in the background with my closing thought for that. So with that, we'll move into that and remind you that if you'd like to email us, we'd love to hear from you. Monty, M-O-N-T-Y, at cametobelieverecovery.org. Before we do this, move into this, any last words, Tom, real quick?
Yeah, I think I got it. And we'll see you next week. This is Gratitude Month, so all the subjects are around being grateful. We do have some public retreats, Monty, coming up in November. We have 3, one in Leesburg, Florida, one in Malibu, which is sold out. But
sold out. Yeah.
Things happen. Reach out, and one in Nevada City for California. So if you're looking to come to one of our events, and the virtual retreat after the new year. So there's some things for the public coming up. Go to our website, cametobelieverecovery.org, and sign up if you want to come and experience the steps the way the founders did and have that freedom.
Amen. Next week's topic, generosity in action, as we continue with Gratitude Month here on the Came to Believe Recovery podcast. Here's in my closing thoughts, and then we'll wrap it up. Here we go. Well, as I sat reflecting on how to close this episode of our podcast, my heart overflowed with gratitude. Memories rushed in, moments from my past when, because of my own selfish decisions, my life could have easily come to an end. Yet, as I look back now, I can clearly see what I could not understand then. My Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, was with me through every reckless choice, every painful moment, and every consequence. He never left my side. And if you'll pause and reflect, I believe you may see that He was walking with you as well. We truly have so much to be thankful for. Words may never fully capture the depth of our gratitude, but we can demonstrate it through the way we choose to live, walking humbly pursuing serenity, and continuing our 12-step journey with hearts of thanks and peace. So today, I offer my sincere thanks to those who stood by me, prayed for me, and those precious ones who are no longer here. As we close, let me leave you with this question. Do you owe a debt of gratitude? How will you say thank you this month? This month of grace and thanksgiving. It's something worth pondering and never forgetting. Came to Believe Recovery strives to create and promote opportunities for life-changing spiritual experiences for individuals and families suffering from all forms of addiction. For more information, help, and support, visit cametobelieverecovery.org. I'd like to thank you for allowing me to be your host on this episode of the Came to Believe Recovery podcast. And I would encourage you to like, bookmark, and subscribe to this show. When you do, you will join the Take 12 Recovery Radio family and will be notified of all of our recovery-focused shows throughout the week. Until our next broadcast, when we provide the essential spiritual tools needed to thrive by sharing our experience, our strength, and our hope through our stories of how we came to believe.
This has been a production of Take 12 Recovery Radio.
Yeah, kitty, kitty, kitty. Meow.
Woof, woof.
This has been a Chicken and a Pig production.